Wakey, wakey, Mets fans. We got some breaking news to get into. I don't know if you're watching this late on night shortly after I posted this past 1:30 a.m. Eastern here on the East Coast, or if you're watching early morning to start your day. You know, you're sipping your coffee after watching the WardyNYM postgame show as the Mets took down the Phillies by a final score of 11-3, in which we had an absolute blast breaking it all down in our postgame coverage. Check it out in case you haven't already, folks. You're probably wondering, oh my goodness gracious, this actually happened last night. I had no clue. Yes, that is in fact correct, folks. Breaking news. Luisangel Acuña, one of the Mets' top infield prospects, in which they acquired for one Max Scherzer at the trade deadline back in 2023, is officially getting the call. It's long overdue to some, but it is finally happening, and I want to see your initial reactions in the comments down below, because not only are the Mets calling up Luisangel Acuña, but what if I told you they're also calling up Acuna, and it has more to do with than just Lindor's ailment. Why is this exciting? Because it means that Lindor is not necessarily the reason as to why the call-up is happening in the first place. I'm going to expand on that here in a second and everything that you guys need to know on Luisangel as potential impact on the Mets. But I want to see those initial reactions down below in the comments. Thank you all so much for smashing that like and subscribe on, as you always do, as we're breaking down things late night, no matter the time, no matter where. Mets news, and we got you covered. The same way I will be live at Citizens Bank Park, hopefully after a victorious Game 2 matchup with Sevy on the bump against those Phillies in Philly tomorrow. So make sure you guys look out for your short schmuck boy in attendance, and you guys can actually check me out as I will be there at the Xfinity Live Hangout pregame, probably from 1:30 p.m. up until the gates open there at Citizens Bank Park. I'll be hanging out with a bunch of the Seven-Line Army, Darren Meenan among others there, that are going to be hanging out and rolling in deep for the game. Very excited for it. I will also be sitting in the Mets visitors side, section 134. So pregame at Xfinity Live across the ballpark for some drinks and chop it up on all things Mets, or around my section itself if you want to chop it up with me. Get your chance to do exactly that if you guys are attending the game, because I want to talk to all you amazing Mets fans, and I have an absolute blast every single time I do it at the ballpark. The same way I have an absolute blast getting into today's video sponsor briefly, our amazing friends at BetUS that have you cover all your sports betting needs. So make sure to check them out today if you haven't already, folks, by using your boys promo code YouTube150. That is YouTube150. That way you too get a 150% bonus on not your first, not your second, but your first 3 deposits on all your sports betting needs. BetUS.PA's got you covered, folks. And you guys know very well, if you've been following the channel, I'm a big fight fan. I love UFC. Big UFC card this weekend, UFC 306. Let me share my 4-leg parlay with you briefly. If you guys like it, feel free to tail. It's actually a 5-leg, funny enough. I do have a 3-leg, and I'll tell in a second. Now I have a 5-leg. I love both of them. Feel free to hammer should you wish, but make sure you bet responsibly with our awesome friends at BetUS. But we got Sean O'Malley and Marab for the title fight. That's the main one there in the Sphere. First sporting event ever there in the Las Vegas Sphere, which is going to be so sick. It's a Mexican-themed card as well, which is why Alex Grasso is defending her title against the former champ, which she beat in Valentina Shevchenko. Alex Grasso has been training Alexa there in the country Mexico and is going right over there to Vegas, right across the street, basically like no problem there to defend her title. And even with her having the home crowd on her side, I love Shevchenko for a chance to bounce back as a Mighty Lion underdog here to win back her title. Sean O'Malley, I've been a huge fan of for a number of years. For my fight fans, know that he is without question the best striker in this division. That reach, that size, that frame goes a long way for him. Just ridiculous boxing skills. Diego Lopez versus Brian Ortega is going to be arguably could be the most exciting fight of the night here. Two electrifying talents, one healthy, one right. Lopez has been a high flyer as of late. Just won a fight a couple months ago where he was supposed to fight Ortega. It didn't happen, but it will be happening now. As talented as Brian Ortega is, I love what Diego Lopez is serving up lately, so I'm taking him at the minus 190 odds. Raul Rojas Jr. is a 19-year-old. Yes, you heard that correctly. And he's at minus 1,000 odds because he's that good. It's almost like you shouldn't bet on him. But if you're going to, pair him in a parlay like this. Ronaldo Rodriguez, who had a lot to say in his pre-fight presser for all my fight fans that heard that and had the earmuffs on. If you know, you know. He is the money line favorite at minus 165. So we're going to take him too. And all these legs is going to leave us to $10 is going to win us 86. So we're going to put 20 down to win us 172.45. A crazy big leg parlay that we're going to get involved with. And the odds did just change there for Shevchenko, but that doesn't matter. Very pumped up to get these bets in, folks. Make sure you bet responsibly. And when you do with our awesome friends at BetUS. Now, folks, to hop back into this one, let's break down the latest on Luisangel Acuña, because I know you're saying, Wardy, this actually happened. Yes, it did. And the reason as to why this happened is simply because the Mets had this plan for a bit now. The initial belief was, okay, Francisco Lindor exited this past night's game that we saw with back tightness, so surely he's not going to be back with the Mets right away. Well, Carlos Mendoza post-game right away said that, one, nothing to be overly concerned about. If it was a tighter ball game, Lindor would have kept himself in the ball game, like would have made sure he didn't come out, and he is likely going to be starting tomorrow, even day-to-day, because Lindor always wants to play every day. He's an Iron Man, and even Lindor at 80% is still 100% better than a lot of the guys that you're getting in the league, especially in Lindor's case, playing at an MVP caliber level the way he has for a number of months now. Now enter Luisangel Acuña, who has stolen 40 bags, who has himself 50 RBIs, 7 home runs, a roughly 260 average, and a 250 or so OPS at the AAA level. Not known for the power, but known for the elite on-base ability, the ability to steal bags when he's on the base, rather, and that electrifying defense that he can showcase either at shortstop or various infield positions. Acuña is being called up, mind you, after the Mets already made this decision prior to the Lindor injury. Yes, you heard that correctly. Luisangel Acuña was always going to get this call for the Mets. He was scratched prior to tonight's game against Syracuse for this reason. The Mets were always fully envisioned, barring or expecting to hear any changes, that this is exactly why they were calling him up. So why are the Mets doing this move? Well, one, with Lindor being day-to-day, that is just enough to warrant making sure a guy like DJ Stewart is not on this roster. I'm going to go on a limb and say that the corresponding move will be DJ Stewart, because the Mets have enough outfielders, and they certainly don't need a guy that can't play the outfield well, that swing and miss, that doesn't even get on base at a good clip the way he's supposed to, and doesn't take the bat off his shoulders plenty of the times. I love Teddy Bear DJ Stewart, but he's not it. I like Jesse Winker, I like Starling Marte, I like Brandon Nimmo, I like Tyrone Taylor, I like Harrison Bader. I like all these options of outfield configuration over DJ Stewart every day of the week. Now you're telling me Lindor is not going to be 100%, he might be day-to-day. That's enough to say, okay, we need a backup infield option outside of Eddie Alvarez, because as awesome as the speed skating Olympian Eddie Alvarez has been, stealing some runs for the Mets since they acquired him from the Red Sox this past week, he's not a guy the Mets should be starting in any games, nor should they really be giving all that opportunity to unless he's proven otherwise, and he hasn't. He started in a game against the Blue Jays, didn't do anything that we saw. DJ did have a hit that he just hacked opposite field on a 2-out. It was nothing impressive. What I'm trying to say is Luisangel Acuña, what does he bring? He brings elite speed right away to this Mets team, and he brings strong defense. So at bare minimum for this Mets team, even if you're not getting much with the bat, you're at least able to showcase the defense, showcase that pure elite athleticism that is carried over throughout his family, headlined by Ronald Acuña Jr., and now his younger brother Luisangel is trying to have something to say about the family name and who's going to be the superior one in the end. Obviously, Ronald is likely going to go down as the best between the two. I'm not expecting the power to be tapped in with Luisangel the way that we surely hope it'll be, but what you're getting at bare minimum is surely a backup infield option right now, with Jose Iglesias starting every day more than likely, with Jeff McNeil out for the remainder of the regular season. You need to have as much depth and as many options as possible, and the Mets did say that they were not planning on calling up Luisangel Acuña unless he was getting playing time. That is what also leads me to wonder, will the Mets maybe have a little bit more of an interest level in resting Lindor for game 2 of that 3-game set against the Phillies, knowing that you have Acuña called up now? We'll find out. Obviously, I hope I see Lindor in person to see a victorious matchup against those Phils for that day game, which very well could be a death sentence for this Mets team. Them in day games, especially Sundays, haven't been good. We'll see how they do this and fare this Saturday, as we'll be live from the ballpark, as I mentioned, as we're exiting the stadium. But Luisangel Acuña, a guy that many Mets fans want called up earlier this season, it is finally happening. Yes, has the power not been there most of the year? That is correct. Has he turned things on that we have seen over the past couple months with more power implementation? 1,000%. Is he a speed demon on the bags, and could he be electrifying enough just as a pure athlete to be an X factor for the Mets beyond what Eddie Alvarez has been, beyond what Pablo Reyes was prior to him being DFA'd and then cleared, and these other kind of extra roster options right now, the expanded format post-September? Yeah, I do think that Luisangel Acuña has the most untapped potential out of any bat the Mets could call upon from the AAA level, not named Drew Gilbert, for example. I firmly believe that. Will that come to fruition? We'll see. Wouldn't shock me if we get a little bit of a noodle bat at the MLB level, but if we get that athleticism, if we get the guy that can steal you bags and steal some runs for you, that's all we could ask for Mets fans, in which that could be enough to help secure wins. Eddie Alvarez has already secured a game-winning run for the Mets in his first game with us, and then 2 games later did it again with another key run that he came in. I forgot who he was pinch running for at the time, but the Mets have taken advantage of their pinch running opportunities as of late. I'd expect that to continue and potentially amplify here in Luisangel Acuña, who already has 40 bags and right around, 130 games or so there for AAA Syracuse. Very impressive numbers. Love what I'm seeing from him. We'd love to see more power, but we'll see how he fares at the MLB level, as he's set to make his MLB debut, likely either Saturday or Sunday against the Philadelphia Phillies, barring changes. So that's going to do it for me, everybody. That is the latest on the breaking news of Mets land, as they have officially called up, yes, Luisangel Acuña. The report was initially from Daniel Alvarez Montes of El Extra Base, and that has been reaffirmed from many other reporters since then. Acuña is getting set to make his debut. Fingers crossed Lindor can stay healthy, and let's go out and let's continue to win ball games, baby. That's going to do it for your guy, Wardy. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know your initial reactions down below in the comments, and what is your excitement level, 1, and 2, your expectation for Luisangel Acuña with this call-up now, what it means for the Mets going forward. Thank you guys so much, and as always, no matter what, let's go Mets, baby. Peace out.